Ladies and gentlemen, there exists a prison more powerful than iron bars, more guarded than any fortress, and more dangerous than any cell ever built. It has no walls, no locks, and no guards, yet billions live inside it every single day. The prison of their own mind. You see, it's not the circumstances that chain us, it's our beliefs about them. It's not society that limits us, it's the voice inside that keeps whispering, "You can't." Most people are serving a life sentence handed down not by the world, but by their own thoughts. The mental bars, fear, doubt, and comparison. Every prisoner has bars. Ours are made of fear, doubt, and comparison. Fear says, "What if I fail?" Doubt says, "I'm not good enough." Comparison says, "They're ahead of me." And just like that, we stop moving. We stop dreaming. We start existing instead of living. But remember this: a bird born in a cage believes flying is a disease until one day it sees another bird in the sky. You are not weak, you are just mentally confined, and freedom begins when you start questioning the limits you've accepted. The illusion of comfort, the cruelest part about this mental prison. It doesn't feel like a prison, it feels like comfort. You stay in the same job, same habits, same excuses, because it feels safe. But that safety is not peace, it's stagnation. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens when you walk through fear, not around it. When you dare to challenge your patterns, your beliefs, your "I can't." The walls of this invisible prison crumble the moment you say, "I may not know how, but I'll figure it out." How the mind creates reality. Your mind is a projector, not a mirror. It doesn't reflect reality, it creates it. If you believe you're not enough, life will show you proof. If you believe you're capable, life will open doors you didn't even know existed. Because your focus becomes your world. Every great achiever, from scientists to athletes, was once told, "You can't," but they rewired that prison. They replaced "I can't" with "I will," and that's how they broke free. Escaping the prison starts with awareness. You can't escape a prison you don't know you're in. So the first step is awareness. Notice the patterns that hold you back. Listen to the language you use about yourself. When you say, "I'm not ready," ask, "Who told me that?" When you say it's too late, ask, "Is it really, or am I just afraid to start?" Once you recognize the lie, the lock falls off. Awareness is freedom's first key. Replace limiting thoughts with empowering beliefs. The second key to freedom is replacement. You can't just silence a negative voice, you must replace it. Instead of "I'm not good enough," say "I'm learning every day." Instead of "I failed," say "I discovered another way that doesn't work." Instead of "I'm stuck," say "I'm preparing for my next breakthrough." Every thought is a seed. You either grow weeds or gardens. Choose your words like your future depends on them, because it does. The real freedom, mastering your mind, true freedom, is not walking out of a cell. It's walking out of limiting beliefs. You could be surrounded by problems and still feel peace if your mind is free. You could have everything in the world and still feel trapped if your mind is chained. That's why monks are calm in chaos and millionaires can still feel miserable. Freedom is not what you have, it's what you believe. It's not found in changing the world. It's found in changing the way you see the world. Break free now. So today, ask yourself, what lies have you accepted as truth? What invisible walls are keeping you small? You have spent enough time locked in thoughts that don't serve you. Now it's time to walk out, not tomorrow, not someday, now, because the gate was never locked. It was always open, waiting for you to realize that the most dangerous prison has no walls, and the key has always been in your mind. 0000 Introduction. The invisible prison. There's a prison more terrifying than Alcatraz, more guarded than any fortress, and more suffocating than a cell built of concrete. This prison doesn't have iron bars or guards. It doesn't need a key, because it's built inside your own head. It's the prison of your mind, the place where dreams are killed before they even take their first breath. Where potential rots behind invisible bars of fear, doubt, and guilt. Most people spend their entire lives here, never realizing they were free all along. You can escape a country, you can break free from chains, but escaping your own mind, that's the hardest freedom to win, and the most necessary one. Every prison has bars. Ours are not made of steel, but of fear, doubt, and comparison. Fear whispers, what if you fail? Doubt adds, you're not good enough. Comparison finishes the job. Look at them, they are already ahead of you. And just like that, the door slams shut. We stop trying because we're afraid of judgment. We stop dreaming because we doubt our worth. We stop living because we can't stop looking sideways. But here's the truth. You were never competing with them. You were always meant to compete with who you were yesterday. When you compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20, you'll always feel behind, and that's how the prison grows stronger. Remember this, a bird born in a cage believes flying is a disease until one day it sees another bird in the sky. Don't let fear or comparison define your ceiling. They are illusions, not walls. The moment you stop believing in them, they vanish. The most dangerous prisons are not painful, they're comfortable. You stay in the same job that kills your spirit because it pays just enough. You stay in toxic relationships because they're familiar. You stay silent because speaking up feels risky. And that's how the mind tricks you. It calls your cage security. But safety without growth is not peace, it's slow death. You see, comfort is beautiful, but nothing ever grows there. You weren't born to live safely. You were born to expand, to evolve, to become more than your fears allow. Every great transformation begins with discomfort. The butterfly must struggle in the cocoon to grow its wings. You too must face the friction of growth or remain trapped in the velvet comfort of mediocrity. So when your mind says, stay where it's safe, remember that's the God speaking, not your soul. Your mind doesn't reflect your world, it creates it. You don't see reality as it is, you see it as you are. If your thoughts are limited, your world becomes limited. If your thoughts are powerful, your world begins to expand. Say to a person, you can't, and their life will find proof of that. Say, you can, and they will start building evidence to prove it true. Every belief is a lens. If you look through the lens of I'm not enough, every opportunity will look impossible. If you look through the lens of I'm capable, every challenge becomes a doorway. The difference between a prisoner and a free thinker is not the world around them, it's the story they tell themselves. So stop asking, what's happening to me? Start asking, what is my mind creating for me? Once you master your inner world, the outer world bows to it. You cannot escape a prison you don't know you're in. Awareness is the first step toward freedom. You must first see the invisible chains before you can break them. Start observing your thoughts like a witness, not a victim. When you say, I'm not good enough, pause and ask, who told me that? When you think it's too late. Ask, too late according to whom? Most of these beliefs are not yours. They were planted by parents, teachers, society, people who were prisoners themselves. You inherited their fears, their doubts, their limitations, and built your identity around them. But awareness is the moment you realize, this thought is not me. You begin to separate who you are from what you've been told, and in that moment, even before the bars are gone, you've already started walking out. Because awareness doesn't change the situation instantly, but it changes you, and that changes everything. You cannot silence a negative voice by force, you must replace it. Your brain is like a garden. If you don't plant flowers, weeds will grow by default. If you don't plant positive thoughts, negativity becomes your nature. Start reprogramming the mind one sentence at a time. Instead of saying, I'm not ready, say, I'm preparing. Instead of I failed, say, I discovered another way that doesn't work. Instead of I'm stuck, say, I'm in transition. Because language shapes reality. When you change your words, you begin to change your world. The world doesn't respond to your wishes, it responds to your beliefs. The more you feed your mind empowering thoughts, the weaker the old chains become. Every time you speak life over yourself, the bars of that invisible prison begin to rust. So talk to yourself like someone you love, not like someone you're trying to escape from. Real freedom is not walking out of a cell, it's walking out of limiting beliefs. You could be surrounded by chaos and still feel peace if your mind is free. And you could have wealth, fame, and everything this world offers, and still feel trapped if your mind is in chains. Look at monks. They own nothing but live in abundance. Look at millionaires. Some own everything but live in misery. The difference is not their possessions, it's their perception. A free mind can turn pain into wisdom. A chained mind can turn comfort into suffering. When you learn to master your mind, life bends in your favor. Because you stop reacting and start creating. You stop living by default and start living by design. Freedom begins the day you realize, I am not my thoughts, I am the awareness behind them. Once you understand that, the gods disappear, the locks fall open, and the walls dissolve. 14:20 Closing message. Walk out. Now. So today, I ask you to take a deep breath and look around you, not with your eyes, but with your awareness. Ask yourself, what beliefs are keeping me small? What stories am I still telling myself that no longer serve me? You have lived long enough behind invisible walls. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need approval. You just need to realize the gate was never locked. It was open the whole time, waiting for one decision to walk out. Not someday, not tomorrow, now. Because the most dangerous prison has no walls, and the key has always been in your mind.